Hello everybody and welcome to my video, Getting Tidier. A big shout out to everybody who subscribed to my channel, those of you that support and encourage me and give me a whole range of wise words, some of which I read and consider and many of which I reflect on at a later date and also talk to my husband and daughter about, as well as some family and friends actually. So a big thank you for that. Thank you for those of you that have been following me over the course of the last year or so. Many of you in the last few months or few weeks. You're all so welcome here. And if you haven't already shared with us where you're from, please do add that in the comments. Now, I know that about 50% of people that watch my videos haven't currently subscribed. If you are one of those, I would very much appreciate you subscribing to my channel, particularly as I'm preparing for the month of October. Any money that I raise in ad revenue will be going to a children's charity. So it'd be lovely if we could raise as much money as possible. Now, when you subscribe and when my subscriber count goes up, and when you watch a video for longer than 30 seconds, I think it is, that then means I get a very small amount of money. Now, my charity, I think some of these channels is a bit of a myth when people think you can make hundreds and hundreds of pounds. My channel does not make that much each month. Certainly for July, I think it was about £24. But when I'm doing regular videos and you're also wonderful at watching, liking and commenting, then I'm hoping that we might be able to make more than £60 for this charity. So please do help in whatever way you feel that you can. So as you saw from the first few clips on today's video, a number of different things that I'm going to be doing. I did kind of forget a little bit about a couple of rooms in my house that I needed to do some more work on them. And a couple of you asked me, how are you getting on with the loft? And how are you getting on with the guest room? And I thought, yeah, I've got those two rooms in the house, one of which, you know, is used regularly. The other one, which I shut the door and try to forget about. But to do this thoroughly, I need to venture in there on a regular basis. So in this video, you will see that I spend some time in the loft room. And I was reflecting a little bit of some of the things that I put in the cupboards. And the two boxes that you watched me go through, I actually went through them on a video a couple of months ago. And they were left out and then had clothes piled on top of them. And the reason why they were left out is because I don't have much space in the cupboards. Now, some of you telling me that I need to be more ruthless, and I watched a video with Diane in Denmark, is it? I watched one of her videos and she used to be like this massive hoarder, incredibly. So I watched one of those videos and I thought, why am I putting small wade tortoise ornaments in my loft cupboard? Why am I putting a pair of binoculars in my loft cupboard? Why am I putting a little bedside cabinet set, which I got from my great aunt? Why am I putting that in my cupboard? Now, if that's you, if you sometimes put, these sorts of things in storage, I'd really urge you to revisit them and think, why? And that's not something I've done before. They're just keepsakes that I like to keep. And I've got a little dog ornament with little puppies, and I can remember when I got that when I was about 8. The next door neighbour used to have a little summer house, and I'd go to the little summer house with my mum and sister, and we'd get squash and biscuits. And there were a couple of occasions where they'd collect these little bits and bobs from their holidays over decades, and they would let us choose one. And one day I chose this little carved dog with the little puppies. Now, just me telling this story to you makes me think, no, I'm going to keep it. But if I want to keep it and I want to put it on display, that's fine, because we all love our bits and pieces, don't we? But I'm not putting it on display. It has never been on display. It has lived its life since I've been married, which is now 22 years, in a box. So you really have to question, why am I giving it space? What should I do with it? Then some of my other ornaments, I like tortoises and I like turtles. Not like massively now. I think tortoises are quite nice. But as a child, I had a tortoise and turtle collection, and I had cuddly toys and all sorts of things. I don't actually think it's good to encourage children with collections, because I think that encourages the hoarding tendency. Anyway, that is a subject for another day. So I've got all these tortoises, and again, none of them have I got on display. Now, if I love them that much and I want them, I need to either find a place to display them, or I need to give them to charity shop, give them to someone close to me, family or friends, sell them on a car boot sale. I don't need to keep them in boxes, do I? So I have really been challenging myself more on this. The other thing that I would say is I used to do another collection. I used to collect spoons from different places. Now, I think that was quite a good idea that my mum originally suggested. I had a spoon from York. And I can understand why my mum suggested that, because there were so many things in some of these gift shops which would have been a complete waste of money. Whereas if you had a collection of like different spoons from different places, you could, if you chose in the future, use those spoons, couldn't you? You can use them for jam if you had afternoon tea, or you could just use them when people come round, like as your spoon for sugar. So that, it was, in many ways, it was a sensible and practical idea. So I had some spoon. I forgot about these. I had like some spoon cases, one which I made out of wood at school, and I'd have all my spoons, all my collection. Now, again, when I got married, they all got bundled up into boxes, and they think they lived their life in my loft at our first house. Then they moved to the house we're in now, where they just lived in a cupboard in storage. So I was looking at them, and there's a few which I really thought, I do remember buying these, and they're really nice. And now some of them are starting to look a little vintage. But again, why am I keeping them in a box in the loft? If I want them, I want them. If I don't, I need just to get rid of them. So you can see in the video how this box is the one that I'm talking about. I went back through this box, bearing in mind I've already sorted this, and it wasn't long ago, so I'm doing my second layer on this box. And what I did was, a number of the ornaments and different things that I've kept, I put on that table. Now, I want rid of that table from this room. It takes up too much space. It just ends up being a surface which just gets cluttered and full. But I just wanted to empty the box and then decide what we're going to do with the things. Certainly, I don't think the future for these items are to put them back into the loft cupboard. I really don't. Now, you can also see the little case, the little Ariel Little Mermaid suitcase that my daughter had. Now, with this, I was about to get rid of that until one of my subscribers said, "Oh, what a lovely suitcase. If I was nearby, I'd love that for my granddaughter." And as soon as she said that, I then had this feeling of, I can't get rid of it. And then I brought it up into the loft room. Now, I suppose I could use it to store the specific toys that I want to keep, or otherwise, why am I keeping it? If I have grandchildren in the future, then I could get another one if I really wanted, couldn't I? So I'm not sure it's sensible to keep hold of this one. My mother-in-law found this for my daughter, and she got it on a selling site, and my daughter loved it, and it's been perfect. It's travelled all over Europe. But things change, don't they? And it's taking time and space from my brain and my life. I think with certificates, if you really like them and they're really important to you, then they should be on display. And if they're not, there's no point keeping in that plastic box with loads of things from past holidays, is there? I also went through quite a lot of postcards. Now, to begin with, I was putting postcards in the bin, and photographs with no people on, well, I have no idea where they were actually taken. I put them in the bin. But then I did get some of the postcards out because I thought, actually, There was quite a few postcards from Paris. I'm hoping to go to Paris within the next couple of years. Do you know I'm going to take them with me? And I save money for my future self because I will send those postcards. And the other ones, I've noticed in charity shops, they do have containers where people who collect postcards will buy them. So I thought, well, I'll give those ones to the charity shop rather than put them in the bin. There wasn't really any that I could use for, sometimes you can use cards, you can use postcards for like little notes or cards, can't you? Thank you cards or birthday cards, but there was none that I could use for that. I also got rid of quite a lot of schoolwork. There was some that I decided just to get rid of straight away. But also what I didn't mention was that there was some that I decided that I'm going to go through with my daughter. And actually I've already gone through some of that and I've had her in fits of laughter. But it's really nice to see like what Mummy wrote age 13. Now she's 13. So she was enjoying me reading that out. There was one where I'd gone for a school trip to the castle. And I'd written a big section about how we went in the minibus, we spoke to the man behind the counter, he was waiting for people from our school, we all got our ticket. And then, because obviously I guess they'd said you need to write a page, I was close on getting to a page. So then I said, we went upstairs, then we came down the stairs and all went home. So she found that really funny. So I would urge you, if you've got a little area which is kind of full of things that you need to go back to, is piled up and you just don't know where to start, then please, I encourage you to make a start on it. You saw how all the clothes are piled up on top of this. This is not going to get done in an hour. It's not going to get done in a day or a week or a month. But if you keep chipping away and clearing more and getting rid of more, the trend is only one way. The trend is only improvements. Now, most people do sort of encourage me on this channel in terms of their comments and their support. Every so often I get people comment and say, oh, you're taking too long, things aren't progressing enough. We all do things at our own pace. So if you're somebody that struggles to get motivated even, and you just don't know where to start, literally go to that area, pick up an item and decide where it goes. And it's so easy, isn't it? I'll sit and think about all the things I need to do, and then you just don't get started. I think all of us do that to a point, and certainly if it starts as sort of things to build up, it really does sometimes take quite a lot of a push and motivation really to progress things. But you can see, like, I'm doing those 2 boxes, and then I've got the linen basket I need to sort out, and then I've got all the things that I took out of the boxes that I put on the table that I need to do. I've got clean washing that needs to be put away. The cupboard is open. That's because the suitcases need to go back because we took out some of the camping items. So I think, and it's never ending. There's always more to do. There's always more to, even when I've completely cleared the rooms, I really need to go back and look at a lot of my paperwork and decide what to do with that, because I've got paperwork which goes back a long way. And just things that I've never kept on top of. So it's built and built and built and built and built. So I'm recording this on a Friday, so I'm asking what you've got planned for the weekends. I know probably when you listen to this it might be a different day, but in terms of my weekend, my daughter's going to be helping with an open kind of school session. So she's going to be doing that. And me and my husband are going out to the Yarmouth project in order to sort out paperwork. And then in the afternoon, we'll have lunch. And in the afternoon, we'll spend together. And then Saturday evening, we're going out for my father-in-law's birthday celebrations. So I'll do a little clip and I'll say more about that once I go. But this is a restaurant we've now eaten there 3 times. Once my dad invited us, and 2 other times we have organised it with other family members. The last time we went was in April time, when my aunt was over from America. We took them for a meal there, and they are really, really good with my daughter's allergies, and they're very, very thorough, and they check things and they go through labels, and they're really very well prepared. So that makes me feel relaxed. So I've spoken to them and organised her food. And then on Sunday We'll probably go to church in the morning, and then we'll have a bit of a relax. And then next week is going to be a little bit different for me, because one day my daughter's going to be kept off school because they're giving out the nasal spray, which is not considered safe for her to be around. So I get an authorised absence and she'll do some work at home. I don't think many people realise that the nasal spray is a live vaccine, and that means that anybody that gets that should not be, for example, visiting people who are immune suppressed. They shouldn't be going to elderly relatives. So they do need to be very, very careful. Anybody who's got a reduced immune system, I think that it sheds for up to 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks. So we'll keep her off the main day, where it's kind of shedding, the shedding is worse, and then she'll go back the day after. I mean, it's a bit difficult because probably the day after they're still shedding quite heavily, but that's limited what we can do there, unfortunately. I wish that they did not do that particular medical treatment in school. That's what I wish. There's many community centres. Obviously doctors' surgeries are under pressure, but there would be other ways to be able to administer. I know that some of my friends and family, they work in schools, and they choose to have the injection. Some of them don't want to have it at all, which is obviously their choice. But they often, as soon as the nasal spray has been given out, lots of the teachers end up ill. And every single year in first and junior school, I actually wrote it down to make a point, really, because every single year there's an outbreak of sickness. Now, people think, oh, it's a different bug, but when you look at the small print, one of the side effects to the nasal spray is sickness. So I'm going to go through some of your comments now. So thank you for the lovely comments that you've added on my channel. As you all know, I very much like reading them. So the first comment today is from Laurie McCord, and Laurie says, "Hi Emma, I truly enjoy your videos. You and your husband work very hard and provide a loving home for your daughter. I think you're doing a great job." Thank you very much, Laurie. That's very nice. Angela Wags says, "Well done, Emma. Your daughter's doing really well with her toys." Yeah, I feel like she's doing well. It's a good lesson to learn about the resale value, not to rely on reselling for lots when buying something new. Absolutely. And some of the toys that she wants, like at the moment, there's a cuddly toy that she really wants. It's one of these Jellycat ones. Now, they are really nice. They are really well made, but they're also quite expensive. And what I've said to my daughter, it's the wanting that you like. It's the wanting it. Once you've got it, you'll probably have it for a couple of weeks and you'll cuddle it at night time, and then it'll be forgotten. And if you try to resell that, you probably sell that for £1. So I'm just trying to emphasise about how the value of money. But it is her birthday money, so she's still not spent her birthday money since August, because she likes looking at things. So she is generally very careful with spending her money. It's just the more cuddly toys which I'd rather not take into the house, to be honest. She's got so many. For a while, she was on a soft toy ban. I got the idea from somebody else that I know. And then that changed to every soft toy that you have in, if you do have one, and there's quite a lot of discussion about whether she's allowed it, but if she does, she then has to get rid of 2. And at that point, she didn't want to get rid of any, so we didn't bring any more in. Rebecca Corsa Wallace. Hello, Rebecca. How are you? Hope back to school is going well so far. Rebecca says, "I'm cleaning my living room as I watch. I've not felt motivated this week." I think everybody goes through that sort of feeling, don't they, every so often. So thank you for helping me get it done. Oh, that's nice. Deja Grenage says, "Hello, beautiful Emma, and blessings to you and your family, and blessings to you, Stacey, as well, and to your family." That's Stacey from Virginia. Dawn Duke. "Hello, lovely Emma. I'm in total chaos." Oh dear, sounds like my kitchen. "I've lived in my unit now for 3 years and have been procrastinating about emptying my shed. Well, my son came over and we got a lot done." Well done, that's good. "But my back couldn't take any more bending, So I asked him to put a few boxes inside. I'm glad you stopped and didn't keep on, Dawn, because sometimes it's tempting to continue and then the following day your back could have been in agony. So I'm glad you knew when to stop. Yeah, put a few boxes inside. A big mistake, as I'm now surrounded by boxes and more boxes. But I'm determined to get rid of a lot more stuff. Yeah, but that's short-term pain for long-term gain. Yes, you are surrounded by boxes, but you're going to slowly see those boxes disappear over the course of the next few weeks. Even if you manage to do 1 box a week, you'll get through them. Keep up the good work, Emma. Maybe spend an hour in your kitchen and get as much done as possible. Enjoy your time with the guides. What fun. Thank you, Dawn. As you know, I had a nice time with I nearly said I had a nice time with Dawn. I had a nice time with the guides, but I was very, very tired. It's definitely tiring because we don't go to sleep until all the girls are settled, and some of them take longer than others. Sandy says, I enjoyed the video. You are getting there. Don't stress. Lisa Malone says, I don't know why or if this happened to anyone else, but I did not see any ads before, during or after your video. It's a bit of a concern. So I'm not going to get any ad revenue if I'm not showing any videos. I did check the settings, and the settings did say that videos are being shown, or adverts are being shown, which was strange, but thank you for letting me know. Now I have a question for you. Can you see in the video my pile of leads? Oh my goodness. I've got 2 bags of leads in the house. There's a bag that I dumped outside because I got so fed up with it being inside. I think it's probably got 2 bags of leads outside. I was listening to another YouTuber. I can't think who it was now, but she was saying about that bag of leads. Bin that bag of leads, I think she said. That bag of leads that you're keeping hold of because there might be something in there that you need. In reality, no, you just need to bin it. It's a bit like my bag of socks, my odd socks, hoping that the other sock is going to turn up, and it never does. And then I bin the bag of socks, and then I find some of the socks around the house. But no, I binned the bag of socks. But some of those leads sitting there, I really need to work out what they're for. Maybe ask my husband to go through that. But one last time I had that, I just bagged them all up, and the bag of leads just sits there. So you can see I'm going through some of those ornaments. I found a broken ornament which sadly I was quite happy about, because then I could put that straight in the bin. Are there other things that I think what is the point of keeping? I had a little set from my great aunt that I mentioned earlier, like a little dressing table set, but one of the containers my aunt or somebody had broken and they'd glued it up, which I sometimes think, why do people do that? Particularly when it's not glued particularly well. But that must have been, that meant something to them. And they were very upset that broke, perhaps. And then I've got a few ornaments that I'm going to get rid of. A few ornaments I'm going to sell. So I put them in the blue box for now. And then the ones that I decided to keep, now there's a lot more space, which is good. In that box. But at the top of the box there was a cuddly toy. Now I don't remember anything to do with the cuddly toy. Apparently it was mine, but I don't recall it. I don't remember playing with it. I don't remember where it's come from. So I've thrown that down the stairs. I'm going to show my daughter, and then I'm going to give it to the charity shop. So what is the point of putting that handmade cuddly toy in a box of ornaments? And then I've got a lot of paper that I could put in the bin, but I've also got a lot of paperwork that I need to sort out. So much. So that is definitely for another day, and I'm afraid that's not going to make a fun video, me going through paperwork. So I might do a very small clip of me doing that and just fast forward it. I'm going to put the binoculars in my car. They are very old, the binoculars, but they seem to work very well. So I thought, well, if I put them in the car, then if we go out in the country, in a National Trust place or RSPB, I'll have them there and I'll be able to use them, as opposed to storing them in the loft, which is no good for anything, is it? So we'll either put them in my car. Maybe it's more appropriate to put them in my husband's car, because when we go out at the weekend, then we generally go out in his car. And you can see that I take some of the bits and pieces downstairs, and then I move on to some of the things that I had thrown over. So there was some underwear that just needed to be put in the drawers, some pyjamas that needed to be put in the drawers, so I just quickly did that. That Tesco plastic bag of things that have been sorted out to go to the charity shop. So that's another bag that's finding its way out of my house. So Wenda Jones says, yes, it's not great to keep plastic toys for years and years. They don't age well. So I appreciated reading that, because that is reinforcing my reasons to get rid of them. Nan Holmes says, I was surprised that you put a flag in the trash bin. We take our worn out flags to a designated place, such as the fire department, police department, sometimes the post office or library, and the veterans collect them to be destroyed. No, we don't have anything like that. We also don't talk about trash. Not in that sense. We do use the word trash, but not in that way. But I do know what you're talking about. Also, our flags are not supposed to touch the ground. Oh. In no way am I saying there's anything wrong. It's just one of those differences I find interesting. Yeah, absolutely. Your home is looking great. Thank you, Nan. Yeah, so I did look at that and think, oh, I could still put them out. I'll put my flags out for anything that's kind of patriotic. So, for example, the coronation. I've put them out before for VE Day, different things like that. But they were getting very tatty. And when I last looked at them, I thought, not sure really it's that respectful when they look like that. And I've got other flags which are still in nice condition. So I thought, well, I'll get rid of the tatty ones and just use my nice ones. What I'd quite like are some fabric ones. That's what I'd quite like. Alice Gorgeous says, I'm not sure about the insurance aspect of rentals, but it is unlawful to discriminate against people on benefits. That's right, that is in the United Kingdom. There's more rules going to be coming out connected to that. The majority of people on benefits are in work. We have the highest household bills and rents in Europe. The system is broken. As always, love to you three. Alice, do you know, I've thought about this many times. Do you know, I've never ever had an insurance company which hasn't specified that you cannot rent to people who are students or on benefits. So I'm not quite sure how they're going to get around that. They're going to have to enforce the insurance providers to change the rules. I mean, I also think it's quite judgmental about students, because sure, some students are a problem, but a lot of students aren't. Certainly when I was a student, I was respectful of other people and other people's property. So I'm surprised really that they're able to say that. So I agree, something definitely needs to be done about that. It's not fair. So I'm getting towards the end of my video now. So thank you very much for the support that you give me. Thank you for liking and commenting on my videos, which really does help. I've noticed that I've been getting about 1,500 views per video now. So I used to be aiming for 1,000. Now I'm regularly getting over 1,500. Some of them I'm getting 2,000. So please keep your fingers and toes crossed for us that we will get lots of views for the month of October. I had a look as I record this. We're right at the end of September, and September has been a good month. So I'm hoping, bear in mind July was about £20, August I think was about 40 or 50, I'd have to check. August was a little bit more, and September is looking like that'll be about £90. So if we got more than £90 and I could give them a decent amount of money after tax, we'd be able to send quite a lot of little teddy bears into the arms of children that are in difficult situations. And there's a ripple effect there, isn't there? Because it's not just the child that it impacts, it's the parent and carer that they're with. I know from personal experience that really meant a lot to me when my daughter got one of these bears 5 years ago when she was in hospital. So you can see my video ends with me working in the kitchen. There's still some pocket areas which I don't seem to be able to get on top of, but me taking a lot of things out of the cupboard has definitely helped. So it's so much quicker now to put things away, so much quicker to put saucepans away, plates away. So it definitely has improved things. I need to really get on top of that corner dumping grounds, because you can see that all the way from the hall. So that would really make quite a significant improvement to how my kitchen looks. So thank you very, very much for watching my video. Thank you for your support. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and right at the very end I wanted to show you a secret part of Norwich. It's part of Norwich that many people don't see, and it's lovely, and there's lots of stories connected to that part of Norwich because it's so old. Thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!